says that a symbol occurring between two letters, each of greater value, subtracts from the symbol following the difference of them being added to the first symbol. So, in a simpler way, if I want to talk about this rule, I can say that the symbol which is present between the two greater symbols, okay, the value of the middle in between or the between symbol is subtracted immediately after the symbol of the greater symbol, and it is added to the first greater symbol. Okay, it is confusing little bit, so I'll take an example and I'll explain. So I have an example over here, XIV. So XIV. From this rule we can say that this is a greater symbol and this is a greater symbol. In between two greater symbols, I have a smaller symbol, right? So these both are greater symbols. I have a smaller symbol in between. So what is the rule saying? Two symbols, greater symbols, in between a smaller symbol. So what I need to do? I need to subtract this value from this greater symbol which is immediately after the smaller symbol and add the subtracted value or the difference of this both to the first greater symbol. Okay, so I can say that x is nothing but 10. Okay, plus, because I need to add, then I need to subtract this both, right? So 5, which is nothing v, minus 1. Always we subtract from greater to smaller. So v is the greater one, so v minus 1, which is nothing but 10 plus 4. So the value is 14. Right? Now did you understand what I am doing according to this rule? Two greater symbols in between a smaller symbol. Then the smaller symbol value is to be subtracted from this immediately after greater symbol value. Then both the difference or the subtracted value which we get as the answer should be added to the first greater one. We will do one more example now, we will understand. So here m and m, even though both are greater symbols than the middle one, these are also equal, it can be equal also, but that should be greater than the middle one. So both are greater than the in between symbol, right? So m and m. So the first m is nothing but 1000, which is represented by 1000, and we need to subtract this value from this. So 1000 minus c is nothing but 100. So what will I get the answer as? 1000 plus 1000 minus 100 is 900, right? So it is 1900. Now did you understand how to do this? So did you understand now how to do this? So greater symbol in between smaller symbol, then minus the value of the smaller symbol from the immediate greater symbol, then add the answer of this both subtracted one to the first greater symbol. This is what rule number 6 states. Rule number 7 states that the symbol I can be subtracted from v and x. Okay, so we can only subtract I from v and x according to the rule number 7. So for example, I have IV. So what I need to do? I have already know the value of v as 5. So I need to subtract the value of I, which is nothing but 1 from 5. So I get the value as 4. So IV is represented for 4 and IX. So x is represented by the value 10. Then minus I, which is represented by value 1, which is nothing but the answer 9. So 9 is represented for Ix, and IL is nothing but, L is nothing but 50 and I is nothing but 1. So I get the answer as 49. But here we don't write 49 as IL. We write it as XL, which is nothing but 40, and for 9 it is IX, right? So we represent 49 as XL, IX, but we don't write it as IL. So IL should not be taken for 49. This is wrong. And if it is IC, then how it is? C is nothing but 100 and I is nothing but 1. So we need to subtract the value of C from I. So 100 minus 1, which is nothing but 99. But we don't represent 99 as IC. We write it as what? XC, which is nothing but 90, and 9, which is IX. So this is wrong. Only I can be repeated for V and X, but sorry. So 49 is represented by XLIX. but IL representing 49 by IL is wrong. We cannot use this symbol. In a similar way, IC is nothing but C is represented by 100 and I is represented by 1. So 100 minus 1, that is nothing but 99. So 99 is not represented by IC. This is wrong. It is represented by XC, which is 90, and IX, which is 9. So it is 99. So this is what rule number 7 says. It says that only I can be subtracted from V and X, but not from L and C. Okay, from these examples I can say that. Now we will go for rule number 8. Rule number 8 states that the symbol X can be subtracted from L and C only. So only L and C symbols can be used for subtracting the symbol X. So I'll take some examples to explain this rule. The first example says that here XL. Okay, so X represents 10 and L represents 50. So as it is before or preceding it, so what will I do? I will minus 50 from 10 from 50, right? So what I am doing here, 50 minus 10, which is nothing but 40. So XL represents 40. So if I take XC, what I am doing, C is nothing but 100 and X is nothing but 10. So I am subtracting 100 with 10. So I am subtracting 10 from 100. So I will get the answer as 90. So XC represents 90. So what is XD? D represents 500. So I am subtracting 10 from 500. So 500 minus 10, which is nothing but 490. So this and this symbol's representation is correct, but this is wrong. I cannot write 490 as, this is wrong, completely wrong. I cannot write this as XD. This is wrong, okay? So I cannot write this 490 as XD. So I can, represent 490 as what? XD means what? D is this, but I cannot write this. So you can write it as XC and all. Then I'll write this symbol, okay? Representation of XD. We cannot subtract X symbol from D. Only we can subtract from L and C. Now we'll go for rule number 9. Rule number 9 states that subtraction must be done once by one symbol. Okay? So to understand this rule, I'll take an example over here. That is IX. So IX value is represented as what? 10 minus 1, that is nothing but 9. So I'll subtract 1 from 10. So X represents 10 and I represents 1. So I get the value as 9. So only once the symbol is there, then I can subtract. But for example, I want to write 8. If I take like this. So I and I is nothing but 2. So 10 minus 2, which is 8. But I cannot take the value or the symbol for 8 as IIX. This is wrong because 2 times the symbols are there. But in the rule it is only once by one symbol. So only one symbol can be subtracted from the other symbol. You cannot take 2 symbols like that. So 8 is represented by what? V, I and that's it. V, I. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 is represented by V, I. So rule number 9 states this. Now we have completed what are Roman symbols and also what are the 9 rules. Using these rules and also using the symbols, now we can learn how we can form the Roman numbers up to 1000, 10,000, 50,000 and 1 lakh also. We learn this in the next part of the chapter. Welcome to the class, children. Now we are going to move further into a topic or a concept called as Roman numbers. You have already learned in the previous part Roman rules and also what are the Roman symbols. So now I will explain you how Indian numbers are represented by Roman numbers. So you have learned in your previous classes up to 1000. So today we learn up to 1000, then 10,000, then 50,000 and 1 lakh and so on. Okay. So here on the board I have random numbers, okay, so that I can represent and make you learn. So 1 is represented by I, you already know that, I. Then 4 is represented by IV, we already know, IV, right? So it is represented by IV, and 5 is represented by V, and 6 is represented by VI. We already learnt in previous classes. And 9 is represented by IX, right? It is represented by IX, and 10 is represented by X. and 12 is represented by X, I, and 15 is represented by X, V, and 20 is represented by X, and 30 is represented by X, and X, and 40 is represented by what? X. No, you cannot write that because you already learned in the rules that no symbol can be repeated more than 3 times. So you cannot write 4 times X for 40. So I use L, then X. Then I will say nothing but XL. For 40 I will write it as XL. And for 60 it is LX. And for 90 it is XC. Okay. And for it is 100 it is C. And for 500 it is D. And for 1000 it is M. So if I want to write a symbol for 10,000. So what will I do? We have learned in the previous part that there is a symbol called bar which is representing 1000. So whichever symbol has bar, you need to multiply the symbol value with 1000. So if I take C, okay, sorry, it's not C. If I take the value M for bar, so what will happen? So the value of M is 1000 and the bar value is 1000. So I'll multiply 1000 with 1000. So I'll get 1 followed by 6 zeros, right? So comma. So it is representing what? It is representing 10 lakhs. So up to 10 lakhs I am able to form the Roman numbers. M bar, D bar. D bar represents what? D is nothing but 500 and bar value represents 1000. So what is happening? Here I will have 5 lakhs, right? So I will have the value 5 lakhs. So this is how I form higher number Roman numbers by using bar. There is no symbol or there is no digit 0 in Roman numbers. Unlike normal Indian numbers what we use. In Roman numbers there is no digit 0. So instead of using 0 I use a bar which is having the value 1000. Now we'll see a PDF over here, the chart over here where you can understand what are the different types of numbers up to 1 to 1 lakh. Now this chart represents all the values from 1 to 10 lakhs, right? So on the chart you can see I is representing 1 and V is representing 5. For 10 I took X. For 13 we are taking X, I and I. For 20 it is XX and you can see that there are C bars, M bars and D bars over there. So M bar is representing what? The last value on the chart, that is M bar is representing what? 10 lakhs. So if you learn this chart you can easily do the exercises further which are after this concept. So please do practice and also learn this chart so that it will be helpful for conversion of numbers, Roman numbers to Indian numbers, Indian numbers to Roman numbers, and also for comparison, for ascending, descending, whatever it is. All the concepts can be done easily if you learn this chart. Thank you so much. Please do practice.